I absolutely love the writing on this. First of all, it's definitely the best writing I've seen, in my opinion, the best writing for a Wolverine film. Like, not X-Men as a whole, like not all the X-Men, all the movies that Wolverine has been in, but the all of the movies that's basically solely about Wolverine. This definitely had the best writing. I love the fact that, spoiler alert, I love the fact that, like, the way they wrote him going out. You know what I mean? That's the way Wolverine should go out. Fighting until he can't throw not one more motherfucking punch. So I love the writing on this. I feel like it was definitely probably the best way that they could have wrote this right here, you know? It was dope. I loved it. It was entertaining. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I do feel like it could have been more entertaining, but don't get that twisted. Don't turn that into, nah, it's not entertaining. It's definitely entertaining. I just do think it could have been more entertaining. There are some unpredictable parts that's gonna blow your fucking top back. Like, you're gonna be like, whoa, what the fuck just happened? And as y'all know, unpredictability to me is probably the most entertaining thing that a movie can offer. It's something that you don't see it coming. So definitely has some entertaining parts. Definitely has some unpredictable parts that's gonna be like, wow, I really can't believe that shit just happened, bro. Like, that shit really just fucking happened. That's what makes movies entertaining to me. Obviously, of course, the action does as well, and of course, it's a Wolverine movie, so it has to has action. No shit. So that was just a given. But yeah, I would say it's entertaining. What stood out the most to me was the unpredictable parts, cause like not the whole thing is unpredictable. Like the way I was talking about Get Out. Get Out, pretty much the whole thing was unpredictable. With Wolverine, a lot of the stuff was predictable, and it's probably due to the fact that, you know, you watch so much X-Men. After a while, you start to get more and more familiar, and you were able to predict even more. Like, if this is your first fucking Wolverine film, this is the first film of Wolverine that you watched, of course it's unpredictable as fuck. You don't know what the fuck is going to happen, man. Of course you can predict a couple of things, but for the most part you won't be able to predict much. So I'm going to leave that up to the fact that it's probably because I watch so much fucking X-Men, and I read some of the comics, so you know that's probably what it is. But it has some unpredictable parts in it, no doubt. And another thing that stood out a lot to me was the characters. It's characters in this movie. Spoiler alert again. It's characters in this movie that had me like, wow, yo, that's wild. Like, oh shit, that's crazy. So I think what stood out the most probably was the characters. I think the characters that were showing up were more fucking entertaining, to be honest, than than I want to say the unpredictable parts, but it's this one part that just blew my shit. I was like, what the fuck just happened? Holy shit. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you what it was. You got to see for yourself. But it was this one part in there that I was like, whoa. But other than that part, the characters are what like stood out the most to me. And not even talking about Wolverine or fucking Professor X. There's some other characters that had me like on the edge, like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And that stood out the most to me. What I would have done differently in this movie is, honestly, I would have had more action. Not saying that there isn't plenty action, it is. And on top of that, like, it's telling a deeper story than X-Men movies and Wolverine movies usually do. So obviously you gotta sacrifice something, which is normally, if you're telling a deeper story, you sacrifice a little more action to get that story, to get those details in there. So it's understandable why they did it, how they did it. But if it was me, I would have tried to get a little more action in there. That's probably the only thing I would have changed about this movie. For example, big spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie, do not continue this video. Major spoiler alert. But for example, the kids in this movie, which is basically the characters I was just talking about on the last question, I would have let them show theirs a lot more. Like, they showed a couple of powers, you know what I'm saying, and was like, okay, you know what they can do, but I would have let them show off a lot more. What threw me off about this movie was the fact that they were hauling ass to this border as if when they crossed the border, the people that were chasing them was gonna stop. like, dude, it's a border. They not gonna stop. They're going to kill you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or probably not kill them, but you know what I'm saying? They're gonna do whatever they're gonna do, even if you cross this damn border. Like, I highly doubt that they give a fuck. Even if they did stop at the border, they can still shoot from that bitch. So it's like, fuck that. Turn around and fight these motherfuckers. Like, you know what I mean? That's what was pretty much throwing me off. So I would definitely change that. I would have let those kids show off those powers. But at the same time, the way it, like, if those kids did turn around and do that, it wouldn't have ended the way it did end. And I did enjoy the way that it ended. So what I'm saying is I would have changed that, but I'm not mad that they did it the way they did it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm satisfied with that. But in my mind, I just wish maybe it was more soldiers chasing them than it was. And they fucked up. They like fucked up half of them before the ending got there. So they really got to show more of their powers and what they could do and shit. That's pretty much the only thing I would have did differently though. And what do I give this movie overall? I'll probably give this movie a 8 out of 10 overall. Cause like I said, there's something I would have changed. I would have had a little more action in there. You know what I'm saying? I would have let those kids do their thing. Like, even though 9 times out of 10, they're going to make a movie about those kids and, you know what I'm saying, let us see all of what they can do and everything. But I don't think it would have hurt to let them show off a little bit in this movie. You know what I'm saying? Get us even more excited for when it's their turn for the big screen. I don't think it would have hurt anything. I'm saying that because I feel like they didn't show off the kids much because they wanted all when their film drops, you know what I'm saying? They want us to be like, yo, that's fucking crazy. But the thing about us is, well, the thing about me, I can only speak for myself, is my imagination already runs wild. So with the little bit that they did show me, I could probably already imagine everything they can do, which means when that movie drops, it might be a little more predictable than, you know, another movie out there. So it's like, I feel like they should have just let them show off a little more. The story was amazing though. That is what I'll give it. The story was definitely fucking amazing. And I'm not mad at the way they did it at all. But I'm going to have to give this one the 8 out of 10. But I would still definitely say it is a must see. Especially if you're an X-Men fan or a Wolverine fan, you already saw it, I'm pretty sure. But if you just like X-Men, like, you know, like, oh, I'm cool with X-Men, it's, you know, it's cool, I would say you definitely need to go see it. Definitely. Peace.